Hello and welcome back to the Yellow City Rundown for the week of January 5th through the 9th. We have 3 stories for our Top of the Panhandle this week, including one trying to honor Brynnlee Hampton's life. We have updates regarding West Texas A&M University and Panhandle Plains Historical Museum. And the Coffee Memorial Blood Center is facing an emergency blood shortage this week. Our first story is honoring Brynnlee Hampton's life. We were able to sit down with her grandfather, Gordon Melton, for an in-depth look on how they are honoring her legacy. Let's take a look at that evening newscast clip.
18-year-old Brynnlee Hampton was shot and killed on New Year's Day. Since then, her family and friends have worked to honor her life and show the lasting impact she's had on people's lives. To many, Brynnlee was a friend, but to her grandpa Gordon Melton, she was his princess. Her story is first on Fox Tonight.
There is no way to understand this pain unless you go through it yourself. And we pray that nobody ever has to go through this pain.
Brynnlee Hampton, a daughter, granddaughter, sister, and friend, leaving a lasting impact on those who knew her.
She had the most infectious smile, the greatest personality. She loved everybody. She wasn't afraid to have friends with anybody, be friends with anybody. Most of all, she loved God.
Brynnlee is Melton's first grandchild. Through her 15 years of life, she made it known she was his one and only princess.
She was my princess, and I couldn't call anybody else princess. And there's a song I sung her when she was a baby, "Hush, little baby, don't say a word." I wasn't allowed to sing that to any of the other grandkids either. She would really get mad at Pawpaw if he did.
Since Brynnlee's death, her family has seen an outpouring of love and support from those who knew her and heard her story.
It gives us comfort. There's a lot of friends. There's a lot of prayers. There's a lot of support out there for the family. They've got a lot of comfort of knowing that a lot of people loved Brynnlee.
As the family works to move forward, they want justice for Brynnlee and forgiveness, something they understand will come with time, love, and support.
Right now, I don't think anybody's prepared for that, but the good Lord says we should. But right now, I don't think we can, but that will come with time.
And if Melton could say one more thing to his granddaughter, it'd be these few, simple words.
Papa loves you. Princess. She's my princess.
Melton says he believes the way to move forward is by being with others and talking to them, especially with parents who have grieved the loss of a child and understand what Brynnlee's parents are experiencing. To see our continuing coverage of Hampton and the investigation into her death, go to myhighplains.com.
We have a full story on myhighplains.com with a full interview with Gordon, and we also have more details about how the Panhandle was able to honor Brynnlee Hampton throughout the week. Our next story is more updates regarding the possible future for Panhandle Plains Historical Museum. So Dr. Walter Windler was able to meet with the Canyon City Commissioners and the public. During this meeting, he detailed the funds that are needed to support the museum and the possibility of a continued relationship with PPHM or PPHM Society. But however, the society noted to us in a statement that they plan to follow up with the statements that they made by Windler and that they remain in the 1932 agreement. We do have a full story on myhighplains.com detailing what Windler exactly said to the commissioners' meeting, and also what John Smithy said to the commissioners' meeting. But we do also have this clip from our evening newscast, kind of giving you a sight-see into what they think the possible future could be.
Dr. Walter Windler says he wants the Panhandle Plains Historical Museum to stay on the WT campus.
But he says he needs several things to happen for that to work. KAMR Local 4's Jack Kessler has that story.
Andy Mari, if you remember, in mid-December, Dr. Wendler and the PPHS Board of Trustees had a meeting. And also on that same day, Dr. Wendler delivered a letter to the society to submit a plan by February 1st that will outline the transfer of artifacts from the museum to an appropriate location. Now, Dr. Wendler in that letter also said that since the PPHM functions as a storage facility for artifacts, and he is requesting that WT and PPHS split the monthly cost of maintaining the facility and utilities equally beginning February 1st until it is vacated. Now, Mark White, a trustee for the Panhandle Plains Historical Society, says that timeline is not enough time to come up with a plan.
No, and I told him that we would do this on our own timeline. We're gonna continue to communicate with him, but we're not going to have him dictate to us the timeline. We are going to propose to him the timeline on which we can work to get the artifacts moved. But it's going to take a little time to put that scenario together. So we will communicate with him as he requested, and by February 1st, we'll be talking to him about what we are doing in terms of preparing that, but we don't consider the February 1st deadline to be a hard deadline to actually give him a finished timeline product.
Now, Dr. Wendler told me today it is a very demanding timeline, but they need to resolve these issues.
Is that in February, even if it's a preliminary plan, to share some ideas about next steps for us is very important. I think the dialogue and the communication is critical. And we've been working largely on our own, trying to generate plans and ideas about what we could do to continue to support the museum. And you know, it requires a lot of work. And I think the main thing to do is get started with it.
White also talked about Wendler's request to splitting the monthly costs of maintaining the facility and utilities equally until the collection is moved out.
Our reaction was, I don't know that we were surprised to hear that, but our reaction was pretty negative to that. His reasoning is that it's because the building no longer functions as a museum. It's just a storage facility. But it's a storage facility because he closed the museum. Because because the A&M system had not maintained it.
And I understand the reaction because we've managed to do this over many, many years to actually absorb the costs of the museum into the university budget. It's not a line item on any budget. We just have to take it out of the general budget. And it's an expense that's very difficult for us to support.
Now, at that news conference following that meeting, Dr. Wendler stated that he personally believed finding or building a facility on or near Interstate 40 in Amarillo that could house the Society's collection makes sense. But today he told us that he is not in favor of moving the museum to Amarillo. He would like it to stay in Canyon. In fact, he thinks it's perfect on the WT campus. He says to do that, he needs two things. First, a stream of income to make the building safe. And second, a durable stream of income of $100,000 a month for WT to properly manage the building.
And the building will probably need to be a new building, or modifications to the building would probably need to be to shrink the building. That's what I want to talk with PPHS about. How much smaller can we make the building? What do we need to do to the collection to make it appropriate to house it in a smaller facility that doesn't cost as much for us to maintain, to reduce that $100,000 a month?
In studio, Jack Hessler, KAMR Local 4 News. Mari, Andy, back to you.
Jack, thank you. Dr. Wendler says WT's partnership with PPHS still stands.
If you want to see the latest on the meeting from tonight and the ongoing discussion, we have that over on our website, myhighplains.com.
All right. That was a great clip from Jack Hessler about that whole situation. We are continuing coverage on this and trying to get updates out as fast as possible. So continue to look on myhighplains.com for more updates regarding this museum. Our next story of today, and a kind of important one, Coffee Memorial Blood Center is facing an emergency blood shortage. On Thursday, our Blood Institute at Coffee Memorial Blood Center announced that its blood supply is low amid an emergency blood shortage. The CEO said in a statement that due to low blood supply, everyone is at risk in worst case scenario. He explained that hospitals today are not affected by the shortage, but there's not enough for it to be secured in a worst case scenario. They're asking the public to donate and help recruit donors to help build a blood supply safety net, and their need in all types of blood types and platelet donors. We have a full story on myhighplains.com on who can donate, and also a link to sign up for a appointment to donate blood. And today we had a story for our MASH blood drive for CNBC, and Princess Bryant, our reporter, was live all day today, covering that blood drive. And both of those stories you should check out and go donate. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we will get back to our Panhandle Planner for the week. All right, welcome back. We have our Panhandle Planner for the week for stories of the week of January 12th through the 16th. These stories are either events or they are stories we are going to cover. The first one is the annual Storybridge MLK Drive is beginning on January 16th, and I believe the last day will be on January 19th. The Amarillo City Council is having its regular scheduled meeting on January 13th. I will be going to the WT versus Windler trial that begins on January 19th. Please expect a full story about what entailed on that day on myhighplains.com. And the Amarillo branch of the NAACP is hosting a town hall regarding safety and youth on January 15th. We have a full story on My High Plains for the Storybridge Book Drive and the town hall, detailing where you can go to those events and what time they are, etc. Looking at our next segment is our Route 66 Rewind. We have a little bit of a fun one. We have one from January 9th, 1927. A local rabbi, visited New York for 3 weeks, and he returned. And during the time, he said that Amarillo was asked about multiple times due to the oil bloom, and the rabbi expressly mentioned how Amarillo is more sociable than New York, and how that city is experiencing more growth. So I think this entire story is really cool to look about, because during the time that of this 1920s, Amarillo was asked about in New York, and it was experiencing an oil bloom, and to see the difference between today and now Amarillo, of what Amarillo is known for, is very interesting. Our last thing, and also a little bit of an important thing, is our weather watch. So today we're experiencing some winter weather. However, Saturday and Sunday is looking to be sunny and slowly warming. And while Monday through Thursday so far look to be staying high and dry. You can look out on myhighplains.com for a full weather forecast from John Harris, and we should be good to go for this week. Next week, you should see some more stories regarding City Council and the trial, and other small events throughout the week. We will see you back here next week. Thank you, guys.